This is a Guide Your Light network production, creating podcasts with purpose.
Self-belief has got to be there on the days when you don't really feel like doing the work, for sure. But I do think you do need belief from other people when it comes to facilitating, because without an agent, it's very hard to access auditions. And you do need people that believe in you, that can help facilitate things to make you move forward.
Welcome to the Things You Can't Unhear podcast. I'm your host, Maritza Barone. Get ready to hear moments that will help you to see the world differently and inspire you to become the happiest, healthiest, and kindest version of you. Hello, friends. Welcome back to the podcast. Today's episode is bursting with big energy and big dreams and a whole lot of heart because I'm joined by the one and only Lola Berry, author, podcaster, yoga teacher, nutritionist, and fearless Aussie chasing bold visions in Los Angeles. Lola is the kind of guest that makes you feel like anything is possible. She's pivoted careers more than once, packed up her life to move across the world, and continues to stay wildly true to herself, no matter what city she's in or what stage of life. In this conversation, we get real about what it means to follow your gut, take risks, and dream out loud. And I love the way that she opens up about those big goals and dreams that she has in her life. She talks about redefining success, self-belief versus others believing in us, and the big difference between the two. And she even talks about how she made the decision to freeze her eggs and own her own timeline. Because let's be honest, there's no textbook way to do life. So if you've ever felt the pull to do something big or maybe scary, you'll love this conversation. Get ready to laugh, reflect, and maybe even rethink what's possible for yourself. Please hit the subscribe button as you're listening to this conversation today. Every follower, every subscriber makes the world of difference. So if you've listened to one episode, 2 episodes, or hundreds of episodes, and you still haven't clicked that subscribe button, please do so right now and make this gal very happy. Welcome, Lola Berry, to the Things You Can't Unhear podcast.
Mate, thanks for having me. I'm excited to be here. Thanks for letting me swear as well.
Yeah, first questions. Hi, Lola. How you doing? Can I swear? Absolutely.
Well, no, some people don't like it, and I also want to be respectful of your audience, but I am a little bit, as much as my dad doesn't like it, I am a bit of a swearer.
It's so funny with swearing. My mum always swore around us. I don't know. She just couldn't hold it in. And my dad never swore. So around my mum, I swear. And around my dad, like I'm in my 40s and I'm so scared to swear in front of my dad.
That's amazing. That's amazing. You still got the power.
I can't hold it in with anyone else, but with dad, it's just a respect thing. I don't know. He never.
I need to take a leaf out of your book.
Yeah.
Dad will hear me say something and be like, Loz, no.
Well, I feel like to have a bit of a fun chat, but also a bit of a deep chat, because I've been delving deep into Lola Berry land in my research for this interview. And I just think you're such a cool chick. You're just so down to earth. You just say it how it is. You like to have a bit of fun, but you're also really honest about how you feel about things too. So that's why I'm really pumped to get into this today.
Mate, I just had my green tea shot. I'm raring to go.
Green tea.
I'm also an open book, so you can ask me whatever you want. Nothing is off limits. So, I'm an open book, whatever you want.
So you're living in LA. You're coming to me now. It's about 4 p.m. in LA. It's about 9 a.m. in Queensland where I am. How long have you been living in LA?
I did on and off for about 4 years, and then my boyfriend got his visa, so we were able to permanently come over here. So we've been here permanently, properly, for about a year. But I've been doing 6 months on, 6 months off for 4 before that. So 5 I've been coming here and treating it like home,
Do you have you moved before? Is this one of your first biggest moves, or is it something that you've done quite a bit in your life?
Yeah, I'm a nomad, mate. I've done time in London. I used to do time on my own in New York, just travel on my own there. But yeah, like grew up in Melbs, did 4 years on the Goldie, beautiful burly heads. And I just realized I better turn my messages off so that you don't hear any of my text messages come through. Fixed. And then I've lived, oh, mate, all over Melb, Sids, Queensland, all over Australia. And then, yeah, I came here purely for opportunity, not for like the palm trees. I'm here for opportunity and career.
Yeah. I love that you're one of the Aussies that hasn't adopted the American accent in your normal everyday speech yet, because apparently it happens quite quickly for people, for Australians who move over to America, and they're like, talking with the American accent really quickly, and you can pick it up straight away. But you are so Aussie still. I absolutely love it.
I've only heard that's meant to happen if you're like really young. Like if you're like a kid up to like your teens, you will adopt the accent. But no, absolutely not. I love being an Australian in America. I love being Aussie. And I've actually got a friend that I was just messaging before this, and his accent, he lives over here too, and his accent's even stronger than me. And we just like when we're around each other, we're like, winner, winner, chicken dinner. Like it all just comes out
Yeah, it
more,
gives you a
you
point
know.
of difference, doesn't it? Like you don't want to just morph into every American in LA. You want to be the one who stands out, and Americans love Australians. So
Yeah,
it's
they're like an
kind
Aussie.
of difference. You know what?
Yeah.
I think we're talking about the moving. I've moved twice in my life, and I sort of did it when I reached my 40s. It's something that I always wanted to do, but it was a big deal for me. And leaving the comforts of home, building a new community of people, having your safe zones and your comforts. How have you found that moving so constantly? And I think the biggest question I have is building deep friendships with new people. How do you do that as an adult? And do you find that depth easily with new people compared to the depth that you find or you find you have with old friends?
Yeah, oh, well, it's weird making friends as adults. Like my boyfriend and I also moved to Byron Bay before I moved to LA, and we made friends with this gorgeous couple. And we were like, how weird is it being friends as adults and making friends as adults? It feels like you're playing for keeps or something, but it's also really weird having on the flip side adult friendship breakups. They're really full on. They're like as full on or if not more full on than relationship breakups sometimes. I always say to people, because I'm 39, I always say, they go, what would you want to know at your 30s? I'm like, I would love someone to warn me that friendship breakups in your 30s are a thing and it's okay to go through them. But yeah, I am. Oh, look, I'm two things, and these are going to sound like bad traits, but I do like them about myself. One, I am a lone wolf, so I actually love alone time, and I am an introvert that can mask really well. So if I do something social, I then have to be alone to get my energy back. So I'm aware that I do really well on my own. And then also another friend calls me a shark. He's like, you die if you stop moving. Like I love like getting outside my comfort zone and doing new things. And that's the hard thing about LA, like the safety that we have in Australia, there's no guns in Australia. There's guns here. I like first day I landed back, I saw like someone be held up with a gun. I saw someone else throwing up. I was like, what am I? Like it was just mental. I was like, fucking welcome back, Lola. And so I don't know. I just think as I've got older, I kind of like know who I am and I'm better actually at being a more honest friend because I actually have pretty big boundaries.
Yeah, I think moving too, you can almost start again with your friendships in a way that you know the type of person you are and you know the type of friendships that you need. It's almost like dating, isn't it? It's just like, are we compatible in these ways? Do our conversations flow? Are we talking about the things that light us both up? Are we doing the things that I want to be doing in this stage of my life? And you're so right. There is that phase as I think as you change too, friendships just disappear. I'm not one of those people that has blow ups with people, but it's more of like this friendship might need to pause for a while, or we're not
Yeah,
as
run their course.
no, it's run its course.
Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
It's interesting.
Yeah.
Definitely interesting as an adult
Mm.
to look at how we become friends and how that depth sits. But I want to talk about your career because I find it fascinating. I think, you've worn so many hats and you've had this incredible, actually, Australian media personality that we knew you for as a nutritionist for many years, watching you on TV screens. And you've got this motivation and drive within you now. You said you've gone to LA for new opportunities. What are you striving for? I know you're wanting to jump into the acting world really deeply, and is it a TV show host that you're aiming for as well? Tell me a little bit about your goals.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I have a podcast as well, and my pod is like my baby. I love it so much. It's called Fearlessly Failing.
I
There's
know
my
I've
plug.
been listening. Awesome.
There's my plug for the day. But it's my baby and I love it so, so much. And so for me, that I'd love to see that as a TV show one day, or an element of that as a TV show one day, or like hosting in that in some kind of capacity like that. I love all the like late night talk show hosts over here, and I go to in that's the beauty of being in LA. You can go to screenings, tapings whenever you want, and I reckon I've been to like 4 or 5 tapings here, from Jimmy Kimmel to James Corden. I went to the Jennifer Hudson show taping the other day. Hers is daytime talk show, but still I'm like, oh, amazing. That
Awesome.
is mwah, chef's kiss, love it. And that's kind of where I feel like all my background of media and whatnot in Australia comes in really, really handy. Like it feels like a really nice, just like exploration for me. So that's something I really want to explore. And then the acting, the reason why I got into acting is basically I shot a pilot in Australia where I was co-anchoring a lifestyle TV show. And I was so excited, but I was also really nervous. So I learnt the script off by heart.
Mm.
And as soon as I sat down next to a really amazing Australian comedian, the director was like, "Oh, guys, we're going to flip the script. So, Lola, you'll be reading so and so's lines, so and so, you'll be reading Lola's lines." And I was like, I've just learnt all of my co hosts' lines. And it was still
Please
great. You've
can
got an
correct
auto
them if
cue.
they made a mistake.
Yeah. Well, it was still great because we had auto cue and I just didn't want to rely on it. I didn't want to be nervous for no reason. And auto cues, I didn't know this at the time, but they only go at the pace in which you read. So it's not like you have to speed read, but I just hadn't had much experience with them. So I thought, what if I don't read it quick enough? Or what if I stumble on a word? I just wanted to know it by heart. And I thought, well, stuff it. I've never done any media training. I'm just going to call up a school and just learn auto cue. Surely someone can teach me. And I saw there was a media presenting course on at this school in Melbourne. I called up and I was like, hey, I see you do TV presenting. I really want to hone my skills on auto cue. Can I jump into this course? And they were like, it's full. And I was like, oh, okay, I guess I'll just have to wait for the next round. And they said, well, have you thought about acting? And I said, I'd rather swim with sharks. And
Mm.
they said, that's a pretty good sign. You should do this course. And I was 31 and I'm 39 now and I haven't stopped training. Like I love it so much. It's so scary, it's so fun. It gets me outside my comfort zone. It gets me to challenge myself, it gets me to learn, it gets me to build my lexicon. I love it. It's scary. Half the time I think I'm shit, but like I'm growing and I'm yeah, like facing fears doing it, and those fears are now something that I've come to love.
It's so funny because talk show host or interviewer is so you. It's the you that's coming out, whereas an actor is you're channeling someone completely different. So they're so different, aren't they? Do you have to transition like one Lola to the next?
So the talk show host is essentially how I am on the pod, or how I am with you right now, except that you've got the harder
Exactly.
job in that you're interviewing me.
I find this the
um,
easier job.
do you reckon? No, I think it's
Yeah,
hard. I think you've got
yeah.
the harder job than me. I think it's very easy being interviewed. Maybe I don't know why. I just find this bit real easy. Like I had a lunch beforehand. I went to this beautiful place for lunch and they were like, "Do you want a sake?" I said, "No, guys. I'm in work mode. I'm doing a podcast after this." And they're like, "Oh my goodness, no, water for you." Water. I was like, "Great." But I'm very
I reckon that
relaxed.
would
Like
have
I'm
been quite fun if you came on after a sake.
a sake or two. No, I don't mess with work. I just don't. I feel too lucky to be doing it. You know what I mean?
Haven't had any drunk guests before, so we could we
I'm
could
trying to
go
think
with
if
that
I
one.
have. I've had a guest come on my podcast and asked to do a shot before. I've had 2 guests asked to do shots, one at 9 a.m. in the morning, might I say.
Did you tell them to go for it?
Oh, fuck yeah. I was like, go for gold. You do you. Doesn't bother me. Like, I'm not having it with them. Like, if it's going to make them comfier, like, you got to remember, like, some people find this really daunting and scary. And just because you and I can talk underwater, you know what I mean? It's not for
Yeah.
everyone. So I'm
Yeah.
like, yeah, you do what you do. I had a mate bring a coffee and put a shot of Bailey's in it in his. Another one came over and did a shot of gin. I was like, do what you got to do. But then, yeah, so I always think when you're TV hosting, you're essentially your own producer. Like right now, you're aware of my mic, you've got this recording, you know what's going on right now. You're checking that, like, you're probably making a note when you think you found your audiogram. Like, you're essentially a producer. And same with the pod. And then with acting, you're a conduit. So it's much more of an artist in the sense that, like, you're learning all the words and doing all the work on them, like all the training and all the technical stuff. But then when it comes to it, you step on set, they call action, and you've just got to let whatever's going to come come. And so I love that feeling of like, like what's going to come, and then like giving yourself over to this thing that feels bigger than you. So you're not a producer at all. You're literally just a piece of the puzzle. Whereas as a host, you're fully aware of everything going on. So they're completely different things.
So different. And you obviously enjoy both of them so much. What's the audition process like in LA for any like acting roles, any big acting roles?
I mean, it changes. So it's project to project. Usually in commercial land, so that means if you're doing an audition for an ad, say like a TV ad or an ad, like an ad for Apple or something, you'll self tape. So you'll literally just like, I've got a plain wall that I'm pointing to right here. You'll just literally shoot against a plain wall. You'll slate your name, your location, your representatives, and then you go into the audition. They like two takes. So usually I'll do an Aussie version and an American version. Away you go. Now, if you don't book, you hear zero, nothing, no feedback, no nothing. If you get a call back, sometimes now they're doing in person, so you'll get given a location and a place to be. But that is mental because you are there, and if you're going in for an Aussie role, 150 other Aussies come in that all are around about the same age as you, and you're like, shit, and they're all here in LA giving it a crack. Like, it's not just like one, but it's wild, and it's actually a little bit daunting. It's a different experience. Self-tape game is a lot easier and obviously like quicker. And then other times they'll get you to do like a reading, but usually it's self-tape based, I've found.
How do you deal with the competition and the like silence, or I don't want to say the word rejection, but sometimes it feels like rejection if you're putting so much effort into an audition and then you're like, crickets, what's going on here? I'd love to hear some
Mate,
feedback.
you
How do you
you
deal
can
with that?
say rejection. You can say it's rejection. Let's not beat around the bush. It's rejection. I have a great therapist, so I work really hard with my therapist on my mental health. It's my non-negotiable. But like, because you do get very, very used to, and this is the one great thing about being in LA, you're auditioning a lot. So you get so audition fit, they call it. So you'll do an audition. So if an audition came in right now, it's 4:23 LA time. It would probably be due by 8 a.m. tomorrow. So you get really fit. Whereas in Australia, if an audition came in, you'd have 10 days.
Yeah.
So you get so fit, like you can learn lines quick, you put it up quick, you hit send, you don't overthink it, you don't have self doubt because you're so used to not getting feedback that you're just like, and off to the ether and off another one. Like, it's quite good at just like doing the thing quite repetitively as far as auditioning goes.
So there's a lot of self-testing going on at home right now. I used to work
Yeah.
in casting. I was in casting from the beginning of my career, and we always cast in studio. So there was no self-tests back 20 years ago. Everyone was always in. And then all of a sudden, I think it was COVID that really sparked the
Yeah.
self-test thing, and people
Yeah.
started going, "Oh, this is easier. Let's just do it this way." And I auditioned for I've auditioned for many things in my career too, and the self-test things piss me off. I don't know about you. I'm just like, I can't bring my best self out on a camera in front of, in my kitchen or in my apartment, whatever.
Oh, no, that's the way it rolls now. That's first tier. That's like
Yeah.
and some callbacks honestly are just Zoom callbacks, like the way you and I are talking right now.
It's, I mean,
And
it's
then you're on
efficient.
set. Pardon?
I mean, it's efficient. totally efficient.
It's so effective, yeah, and it saves money too. So I think
Otherwise, you're running around town trying to get to all of these auditions. And I get it. But there's not, I feel like my goal when I meet people is in person. And that's
me too.
the dynamic of like,
Me
yes,
too.
yes, so we've connected. Now I get to feel comfortable and show you who I am. And I feel like that's missing a little bit, but it's sad. I don't think it's coming back anytime soon.
Nah, because it's so cheap to do it this way. But like, it is cool. Like, I booked a pilot and I booked it off being a yoga teacher. Like, I was teaching yoga, and I guess they liked my voice, and the showrunner and I became friends. And then, like, they saw that I'd done morning TV. I'd just booked a gig in Florida, doing morning TV in Florida. When I got back, they're like, "Hey, you're perfect for this pilot and this role. Do it." And that's how I got it. You know what I mean? I think there's no rules now. There's no like, it should be this way or that way. I think it's just like, my journey is going to be different from the next person's journey.
Yeah, it's very true. I want to talk about self-belief versus other people believing in you, because there's this fine line, right? We can believe in ourselves and, you've got this amazing podcast, you've got this incredible career background, you've got all of this experience, you've got all of this training, you believe in yourself fully. And then we just need other people to go, okay, I'm going to green light you here to take you to the next step. I've found that such a challenge in my career. And then in the end, I go, fuck it. I'm just going to do it myself. I'm, I'm creating the podcast myself. I'm doing the talk show dream or the event myself, I just do it myself. And the empowerment that comes with that, just going, actually, I'm fulfilling that desire in me so fully that hopefully it just attracts whatever it attracts, and whatever comes from this is just icing on the cake. I want to talk about that self-belief versus belief from other people. Where do you sit with that?
Yeah, I think you've got to have a sense of like, definitely self-belief especially when it comes to like showing up and doing the work when you don't feel like doing the work. Especially if you're your own business owner or you've got your own pod idea. Like, I was talking to my boyfriend on the way here, and I'm a little bit behind on some pod editing because I do all the audiogram editing. And I was like, oh my God, I love my pod so much. And I was like, I need to carve out some time to really get ahead now. And so, like, I had 3 commitments booked over the next 3 days, and I just pulled the pin on all of them so that I can commit myself to the pod, because I really believe in that pod and I believe in what we've created with that pod. And so that's where self-belief's very important, because like, it needs to be there on the days where it is easy to like let things slip through the cracks, or it is easy to like, oh, I'll just put that on the back burner, or I won't do that as well as I could, or I won't check that episode. Like, a lot of podcast hosts don't listen to their episodes before they come out. And shit, like, you kind of got it. How do you grow? How do you learn, right? How do you figure out what you're good at as a host and what you like about yourself as a host versus like what you want to change? Sometimes it's hard to know what your like comfy, leaning on word is. And for me, I was using like all the time. And my dad was like, stop saying like 50 million times in your podcast, Lola. And I was like, oh, okay. So I think like that self-belief has got to be there on the days when you don't really feel like doing the work, for sure. But I do think you do need belief from other people when it comes to facilitating, because without an agent, it's very hard to access auditions. And so for example, I work with someone on my podcast, beautiful Claire, and without Claire, I don't get sponsorship deals, and then the pod doesn't make any money. And so you do need people that believe in you, that can help facilitate things to make you move forward. But without you putting in the time, sweat, tears, but like, and you know how much prep goes into interviewing a guest, like a lot to the listener. Guys, like, I interview people and I will do anywhere between 8 and 12 hours prep, usually, whether it's
Wow.
watching YouTube clips, so it's listening to full eps, like, whether it's listening to back catalogs of their pod, whether it's watching a series that they're on. I do a lot of actors and I love it so much, but also like, no one gets to see that side of it where you're like crossing your T's, dotting your I's and checking all that. So that I don't think you get the other people believing in you until you've got that hard work bit down pat, and then they see how willing you are to work at it, and then they jump on board too. That's how I've had agents over the years, and It's also how I've had the courage to step away. Like you grow sometimes, like from me switching from nutritionist into like TV host and actor, like that wasn't right for one of my managers and agents. It wasn't the right fit. Like they needed me for nutrition. And so that sense of self-belief, but also them being like, hey, we get it, but we can only help you as a nutritionist. That's where we believe in you. We don't believe in you over here in the actor, TV hosting space. And we had a really beautiful, honest conversation where that self belief and their belief in me didn't totally line up. And so I freelanced for Yonks.
It's
So,
so interesting. Yeah, it is.
yeah.
There is definitely a tie-in where they need to meet, and I agree, it takes you to the next level. I heard you pitched your idea, or is it you've piloted for 15 different talk shows, and none of them
Oh
have
my
been
God.
greenlit?
Yeah. Do you want me to tell you about it?
Yeah, I'd love you to tell me about it.
It's so flippin' fun, but it's heartbreaking at the same time. So you basically shoot pilots. That's how I got into acting school. So I'd get calls from like Channel 7 or 10, and they'd be like, we want to pitch you as a co-host for a lifestyle show. And I was like, tick, sign me up, dream job. Yes, thank you very much. Love to. And they'd have me and a male host, and then they'd sub out the male host. So you're doing chemistry tests all day. So they'd like sit me down and I'd be the co-anchor, right? And then they'd have like three different guys sub out. So you do back-to-back reads with three different potential hosts, and they'd pull me out and they'd throw in like Rachel Finch, Nadia Bartel, whoever the other girls were. We're all getting hair and makeup done at the same time, PS. So you're like sitting next to these gorgeous, lovely girls that are just like amazing, yet you're fully up against them. It's wild. It's wild.
Awkward. Or is.
But it's well, it's hard. Both of them, I think they're both beautiful, wonderful girls, and I know them quite well. But like, it is just like it's interesting. Like you've got to, and this is where it almost comes back to that sense of like the right people are going to believe in you because you're like, well, what they're going to offer is something very different to what I'm going to offer because we're all very different people. We're all got something different to offer, like Nards and like Rachel, they're mums, so they're gonna have that beautiful like mama bear energy and also speak from their life experience, whereas I'm like, this nutritionist that just chases careers all over the world to see what sticks, like it's different horses for courses. And so I just always think pilots are fun, and so much fun because you get a taste of like, oh my God, it's a full crew. You're mic'd up, you've had hair, makeup, you've got costume going on. It's the best fun ever. It's like, and we're rolling, da da da. But whether those pilots get greenlit or not are another thing. And that's what led me to coming to America because I'd shot all these pilots and none of them got greenlit. And they didn't get greenlit, not with me, like with no one. The shows never
Yeah.
went anywhere. And they were such great concepts of shows. They were so much fun. Whereas here, I shot a pilot last week here in LA, acting. So very different, not hosting. I got to be a little bit of a villain, which was fun.
That would.
But there's going to be a premiere for that. They're going to put it into all the film festivals. So this will see the light of day and they're going to try and sell it. And so even if this pilot that I just shot here in LA doesn't get picked up, it'll still be seen and it'll still be out there. Whereas those ones that I was just telling you about, so much fun, love them. They're on the cutting room floor, never to see the light of day.
The pilot graveyard that must be out there. I know I've done the same, probably not 15 like you have, but I've done pilots that have ended up in nowhere land. And there's still one that I think about. I'm like, that was bloody excellent. That concept was excellent. And that
What
needs
was
to
it?
come.
Was it like a talk show?
No, it wasn't. It was called Fast Food Police. And so
That's
it's almost a bit like The Biggest Loser, but this
Yeah.
this host would go in and like rummage through their kitchen and
So
then
good.
take them on this well-being journey. And it was just like, what's this? Checking the pantry, checking the fridge, going through this whole journey together. And it was very like sort of strict, and it was
Yeah.
and there were
Yeah,
extras.
so good.
It was a lot of fun. And I was like, this is going to be hilarious. And we did this like week-long pilot, shot this like 7-minute reel, and I was like, okay, this is going to be incredible. But things like that just don't make it. It's all about timing sometimes. It's who it's
Money.
of, money,
Yeah.
sponsors, partnerships. It's
Yeah.
yeah, it's just the industry that we're in.
Yeah. I mean, that sounds great. I'd watch that show, mate. That
Yeah,
sounds
same.
awesome.
I'd love a good glow up and transformation, especially when it comes
Fuck
from the
yeah.
inside out. So
Yeah,
they can buy that
100%.
back up, maybe. All right. So I want to know a little bit about you in terms of personal life. I know, you're going on this big pivot. I love that you're sharing so openly your journey, because when you get to your next goal setting and goal achievement, we're going to be like, yes, we were there with you the whole way. This is so cool. But I've heard you say, like, personally, I mean, you got a boyfriend, not married at the moment.
No, I keep reminding him he can propose whenever he wants.
How long have you been together?
8 years, mate. 8 years. It's
8 years.
time. TikTok, I keep telling him.
Yeah, well, it can all be done in different orders. But I heard you froze your eggs, which is a really
Yeah.
conscious decision that you have made around, focusing on your career at this point in time and being realistic about age and fertility. And I think it's so empowering. I'd love to hear more about that and why, like, when did you come to this decision to freeze your eggs?
Went to LA. I think I was about 34 or 35 when I first came to LA to like give it a red hot crack. And I was like, ooh, this is going to take a while.
And
This
how old are
isn't
you
an
now?
overnight success.
Don't mind me asking.
Now, how old am I now?
Yeah.
39. I'm
39.
39 now. And I was like, oh, this is going to take a pinch. This is going to take a little bit. I could just see the trajectory. I could see the agent trajectory. Like, it's not like Australia where you work with one manager your whole career. Like, you kind of climb a ladder, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, oh, okay. This is going to be a grind. And I was like, this is a 5-year slog. This is going to be a minimum 5-year slog. I could just see it. And I'm very lucky to have a couple of actor mentors that are very, very successful. And they were like, it's 8 years, you lock in, it takes 8 years to break in LA as an Australian. And I was like, fucking 8 years. I was like, I'll be 43. Right. And I'm like, shiver me timbers. And so anyway, I came back to LA the next year in the grind, and I was like, yep, this is 100% going to take a while. So you get a lot of rejection and you get a lot of no's. And I remember I wrote a cold email to an acting agent, and I got like a legal letter back saying you cannot send unsolicited, like, and it was just a pitch like, hey, love you to rep me. And I was like, okay, this is a hard game. And so yeah, I was 36, and I said to Matt, my partner, I was like, oh, this is going to take a while. I don't want to, this is the truth. And this sounds really morbid and sad, but I was like, I don't want to get to like 43, 44 and my fertility window to be shut and me also not have an acting career to speak of. I'd like to essentially have tried and tried and tried and not made it, which is unfortunately is a very real outcome for a lot of Australians that do come over here and pursue acting. And he was like, cool. And he was like, do what you got to do. And like, he's like, I fully support you. Do what you want to do. And I was like, great. So I saw a couple of fertility experts. Didn't do well with the first one. Like I didn't get a good vibe. And so I was like, I'm out. Like I had a big teary and I left. They just had the wrong person's blood test in front of me and was speaking to me as if they were mine. And I was like, I think that you've made a mistake here, dear sir. And it just made me feel really unsafe. And I was like, I'm out. I got to find somebody that's the right fit. And then I found someone and they were like, listen, it looks like you and Matt are partners. And I was like, yes, we are. And they were like, we think that you should think about embryos. They're just very, very viable compared to the freezing and thawing of eggs. And I was like, honestly, I was so naive that I thought I'd get mazillion eggs in one go. I was going to donate it like excess to like queer groups. I had all these like grand plans for my eggs. Little did I know that, they look at the first cycle of IVF as a trial round. And then, they say it always takes about 3 rounds to kind of get to the goals that you want as far as like how many eggs or embryos you want frozen. And I had no idea about that. And because Matt and I were fertile on paper or are fertile on paper, it's not supported in Australia as far as Medicare and whatnot goes. So we were paying a lot of money out of pocket. So to be really frank with you, we couldn't afford to do more than 1 round because it was like, started off at about 15K and I reckon it reached about 18 towards the end. It's a lot of money, especially when you're like living here and, still got stuff going in Australia. It was just a lot of money. And so we were like, I said, this will be a 1. We'll just take what we can get from one round. And I worked really closely with my therapist on that, and he was amazing. And I had like quite a couple of like emergency therapy sessions while I was in it. Like when you start injecting the hormones, it can have an impact on your mental health. And we ended up with two beautiful embryos. And the doctor called me and was like, "You've got to go again. You need more." And I was like, "My mental health, my physical health, and my emotional health cannot take it." And I
Yeah.
said, "And financially, I cannot afford it." And so we're really happy with that result. But we also made the best choice that we could with the money that we had at that time. And also, like, it mentally took a huge toll on me. So, like, women that do multiple rounds and do IVF at all, I take my hat off to you, because it was, for me, I found it really challenging.
Yeah, I think it's challenging for so many people. It blows me away how many rounds people do. I mean, Lisa Messenger was on this podcast not long ago. I think she'd done 16 or 18 rounds of
Yeah.
IVF.
Yeah.
Like, I'm so glad she has that baby in her hands now.
Yeah.
You know, the things
Yeah.
you go through, but I love that you're constantly referencing your therapist, and that's been that, you know, that constant that's been helping you through everything in your life by the sounds of it. So great. So great. And
Yeah.
that
He's
talking
unreal.
about it too. So you've got these two embryos that you can implant at any point of time, but you're waiting, and you said this sentence that's got me. I just want to know what it means to you when you make it. What does that mean if you make
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, fuck, didn't even realize I said that. For me, I have a few dreams here, but as an actor, I'd love to be a series regular on either like a dramedy, which is like a Ted Lasso, like a drama comedy, or even a procedural drama, like, a Grey's, 911. Sign me up, guys. I'm available if
I
anyone's
love that.
watching or
And
listening.
are you into manifestation?
I am. I am. My boyfriend is like really into meditation and manifesting, as far as like visualizing and breath work around that. I am much more like, I get butcher's paper out, I burn incense, I've got spiritual candles and crystals I pull out, and I make sure that I like almost daily like sit down and see if, where I am on my like goals. But I'm a real planner. I'm a real planner.
I learned a technique. I'm reading Zoe Marshall's Arise book at the moment.
Yeah.
I'm about to have an interview with her on the panel of the Kylo Summit, and I'm deep into researching all of them. But I'm reading her book, and I know a lot about manifestation. And I loved this one technique that I hadn't heard before. It's called priming. And I've been doing it for 2 days. It cracks me up. But I wake up in the morning. The first thing I do is I grab my phone and I text myself as though I'm someone else. And I'm telling them about this amazing news that I've gotten, or these opportunities that I've received. And it's like you bring up that feeling within you in the first thing you do in the morning, and prime your neural pathways and the emotions that you have to receive this information. And I'm like, I
That's
love
cool.
it. And it is very cool because it just sets you up for the day as well. You go into the day really positive.
Yeah.
You read it back in the afternoon, and because you've done it first thing in the morning, you're not really like, you're not overthinking it. It's very,
Yeah.
it sort of comes out of you. And you go back
Yeah.
and read it later on when you're fully awake and you've been, charged for the whole day. And you're like, oh, where did that even come from? I love this. This is great. So try this, Lola. Try this as a manifest.
Yeah, I love it. Well, you got a 7-minute window when you wake up as well, where you're like still able to access dreams and memory recall from the night before,
Is it
which
7
is why
minutes?
you meant, yeah, 7 minutes. So you're meant to, like, when you wake up, like take notes, like if anything's popped into your head overnight. So you're probably subconsciously tapping into that as well.
Well, the suggestion in the book was to actually find someone to text and have this like banter with each other. So say me and you choose each other. We're like, okay, first in the morning, I'm texting you
Oh,
my
amazing.
priming, and you text me. So it's a sort of two-way street.
Yeah.
But I've chosen at this point in time to do it for myself. I'm more of a private manifester, whereas you sound like you're a public manifester, which I
Do
love.
you reckon?
You're putting it out there. You're telling us exactly what you want. And you know what? I think it's going to work in a way that someone will hear these interviews and go, yes, she'd be amazing on a
reckon?
Grey's Anatomy.
Yeah, I don't know. I also I also see a psychic, and she told me I'm going to be on a medical procedural drama, and I was like, all right, well, let's keep. And then so do you know all I watch now is medical procedure dramas because I'm like, I've got to have that. I have to have that energy. Like I have to have that within me.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah, that's
it's
true. And be aware of other. What star sign are you? You're so well prepared.
yeah, you'd be able to guess it in one go.
Well, who is well prepared? That my parents are well prepared. They're both Virgos. So
Yeah, you got it.
Virgo.
Yeah, I got 4 Virgos in my chart. Virgo
Yeah.
Sun, Virgo Moon. I think I'm Virgo in Mercury. And then I have Sagittarius Rising, which is where I get my spice from.
Oh, I love this.
Yeah.
How
So I
funny.
can be a little bit fiery if need be.
Sometimes we all need a little bit of fire.
Yeah.
That is absolutely fine. I love this. All right, so I want to know. So you see a psych, you see a therapist. Do you have any other go-to assisters that people that help you in your pathway in your life?
Yeah, my therapist is also a hypnotherapist, so we do hypno as well. And I obviously teach a lot of yoga, so I practice a lot of yoga too. And then I have noticed that I get a little bit of anxiety because I'm a stress head, and I box breathe. So I box breathe when I've like got something coming up that I can't wrap my head around, or I'm getting like because I'm a tornado person. Like I'll build up and then I'll be like have a tornado kind of meltdown. So my boyfriend Matt, you are amazing, has been really good at like getting me to focus on breath work. But for me, I'm very like a head based person, and I need to understand when something feels clunky or like a failure or a rejection. I need to figure out the reasoning behind it. So that's why talk therapy is just like so beneficial for me because I can get what I'm feeling and thinking out and then process it and compartmentalize it and kind of like figure out what it means to me in a safe space with someone that's non-biased and going to hold me accountable.
Yeah, I love that. Good on you.
Yeah, I love
It
it.
seems super important in your life and you know yourself well. You also been doing so much training. Are you doing accent training in LA as well?
Do you know what? My dialect coach is actually Australian, but I do all my American dialect with him. He's amazing. He's in Melbourne. But anytime I get a scene study, him and I work it together on dialect. Whether I try to do it on American dialect because obviously most of the auditions here are American dialect. But my agents are like, no, we want you to stay Australian. We want you
Yeah.
to book as Aussie. And I did the pilot in Aussie as well. So no dialect. The only thing that you have to do as an Australian here, because we have a different intonation to Americans. So everything we say kind of goes up at the end, like we're asking a question. And Americans don't. They hit punctuation and they talk almost like that's why they feel so direct when they talk to you. So it's like this fine art of like keeping your Aussie accent, but you have to talk like an American in the way you hit punctuation. Otherwise, they think that you're uncertain because
Do
you're
you have a
constantly
trigger sentence to flip you from the
American to Australian.
Australian to
Yeah.
American?
Do you want to hear it?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's so I can hit certain vowels. So she was seen to be evil in the mean streets where bees feed and schemes are the key. That's my American trigger.
Oh, good. So good. I wanted to put this to the test even more. I could just listen to this all day. Can I give you a word with an Australian accent and you tell it to me with an American accent?
I can try. It'll be hard, but I'll try.
I mean, these are like probably like different words that have the most difference between them. Okay, Australia.
Okay, so I would say Australia, and an American would say, well, an American would say, "Oh, you're Aussie," was usually what they'd say, but they would say Australia, Australia, Australia. I
I
think
chose that one because I love the way you say that word in your accent. Australia, Australia.
I say
I,
Australia. Yeah,
I
yeah,
love it. It's so Australian, and I love that you've stuck to it. All right, what about water?
Oh
What
yeah, so we say water, and an American will look at me like no idea, and Americans say water, like water. You got to say the R at the end.
we're like water, water.
We
Where's
say
the
water.
Aussies? Where's the D in water?
Yeah,
I love
yeah,
that.
yeah.
Tomato, tomato.
Oh yeah, so we would say tomato, Marty, Tommy, tomato, Marty, and they would say tomato.
Yogurt.
Yeah, we say yogurt, and they would say, what do they say? It's not yogurt. It's something else.
Yogurt?
Yogurt. Yeah. The funniest ones are we say aluminium and they say aluminum. And then I work at a yoga studio. I teach yoga, and so I always hear the teachers say, "Oh yeah, like it takes 3 weeks to like acclimate to the heat." And I'm like, do you mean acclimatize? Opposite.
You're
Yeah.
like, wrong.
Yeah. Oh yeah, yeah. No, no. Like, yeah. I think they think half the stuff I say is like a joke, honestly.
Hilarious. I could listen to that all day. It's
I have a funny story actually about America. I was teaching yoga and I was checking an American in, and this person's like, "Oh, your accent," and I'm like, "Yeah, I'm from I'm Australian," and they're like, "Oh my God, I went to South Africa," and I'm like, "Okay, I've never been." They literally thought that's where Australia was, in Africa.
that's fair. It's pretty far.
I was like, "Okay,
Get a
cool,
map, peeps. Get a map.
cool, cool." Oh no, they don't, like, literally Australia.
Relevant.
Could be in London. Could be in London.
I
for all
like
I
that
know.
Australia's pretty far away. I mean, it's annoying when you want to travel, but it's feels safe too. So it's
So good.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the best.
What motivates you, Lola Berry? What drives you constantly? What's your why? What's your Simon Sinek why?
I was going to say she's read his books. For me, I love that feeling of passion and that feeling of, like, in yoga we call it dharma, which is like your purpose, and it's like that spark in your heart. And like when I act, like it's like electricity running through my veins. When I host or interview on the pod, it's like I'm creating this safe space for the guest. Like I love that feeling of, like, so for me, as long as it feels like it's linked to purpose and I'm living my purpose, and that is like passion fueled, that is why I do what I do. And at the end of the day, the goal is to help and inspire people. People listen to the pod and they're like, fuck yeah, I want to try that. Or, yeah, I've got this crazy dream and I had a different career until I was 35 too. Like, fuck, who cares? Like, if it inspires people, fucking tick, job done.
I love you. You're great. It's so true though. It's so freaking true. All right. So you know the name of the pod? I'm calling it the pod now too. You are very contagious.
Go
The
for it, mate. Go
podcast
for it.
is things you can't unhear. And I'm sure you've had many things you can't unhear moments in your life, but I want to know one that stands out to you right now.
Yeah, well, so to the listener, I did get a little warning this was going to happen right at the start of this chat, and I went back to my first year nutrition, like day one of clinical nutrition in my degree, and my teacher, her name was Melissa, or is still Melissa. She still writes me on Insta, and she said, if you have a dream, you're the only person who can get you there, but you're also the only person who can stop you. So that has stuck with me. But then I also have an acting mentor here in LA. And whenever I get off the flight from LA, I always see him right as I land. And he always goes, buckle in. Just buckle in. LA is hard. Just buckle in. And I always think, like, buckle in. Like, come on, let's just like buckle in and let's go. Like, let's just one foot in front of the other. Because it is hard.
I mean, I'm sure it's hard, but you know what? You sound like you're having the best time along the way. You're enjoying each day. Your dharma shouldn't feel like work, and I know mine doesn't. That's when I know, is when I'm like, I could do this forever because it doesn't feel like a drain. And there's things that do feel like a drain, like tasks that do feel like a drain, but the ones that don't, you're like, here I am. This is it. I could just keep going, and this does not feel like work at all. So I know that you're living in your dharma. You're enjoying the journey, the process, the experiences that you're gaining along the way. And we're here for it, Lola Berry. We are here. We're cheering for you on the Aussie sidelines to get to you.
Thanks, mate.
Driving. And for anyone listening who's loved this chat and hasn't listened to Fearlessly Failing Body, you will love it. Had some
thanks, mate.
on that. So listen up and watch this space, hey?
I mate, fingers and toes crossed. We're just going to run at it, you know?
Run with everything you got. Thanks, Lola. Love it.
Thank you, mate.
Thanks for listening to the show. What did you think? And what did you feel? Let us know by leaving me a message on the Things You Can't Unhear Instagram community page. And if you can, give us some ratings love on your favourite listening platform.